Okay, so in this video, we will look at ways to set up the bike to get the optimal fit for your child. So first up is the position of the saddle and the bars. What about adjusting the brake levers and the reach? When it comes to the saddle position, there are two options. One that's more beginner friendly and the other for advanced riders. For beginners, try this. See how the rider is sat comfortably with both feet touching the ground. This means their feet can be placed firmly on the ground when they stop and want to take a break. More advanced riders can increase the saddle height and adopt a more efficient and dynamic position. When he or she then needs to stop, only the tips of their toes will touch the ground. So this is why the Woom 3 comes with a quick release seat clamp, whereas the Woom 2 uses a 5mm hex wrench to adjust the seat height. Okay, so let's raise the saddle a bit and close the quick release. Let's see how that feels. Better? You can see quite clearly that it's a racier position, even when stationary, and just his toes are on the ground. And for a rider with experience like yours, this is the position you want. The position of the bars is just as important as the saddle height. We have three adjustment options here, either moving the bars away from your child, a bit closer, or somewhere in the middle. So the important thing is having a slight bend in the elbow, not totally bent, like that, but also not totally straight either. So how do we adjust this position? Take a 5mm hex wrench and loosen this screw here. You only unscrew it a little bit. Don't remove it. Now we can nudge the bars further out. Exactly. Brilliant. But if we were to tighten the bars in this position, then their arms would be overly stretched out, which is really uncomfortable for riding, and a bit precarious when it comes to steering. Then there's also the risk of putting the bars too close to the rider. This results in their arms being overly bent, like that. Exactly. This also makes it hard to steer, so we want to avoid it. Okay, so let's put the bars into the optimal riding position, which also happens to be the most comfortable. So now we tighten the bars like this, so that the elbow is slightly bent. Now re-tighten the screw. Make sure that it's definitely tight enough. If not, there's a risk that the bars might loosen while riding and cause a crash. We definitely want to avoid that from happening. So once the bars are sorted, it's time to move on to the brakes. As we have adjusted the angle of the bars, this has had a knock-on effect on the levers. We now need to make sure they fit your child again. Take note, the lever should ideally run in a straight line from here. In this case, we can see it's a bit steep and it drops off too much. So let's raise the lever a bit so that the fingers don't have to reach so far down. This will ease the strain on their hands on longer rides. How do we do this? Okay, so take a 4mm hex wrench. You'll find the screw on top of the lever, and just loosen it a little bit. Then you can position the lever where you want it. Remember to adjust both levers, the rear brake and the front brake, and re-tighten both screws. So once the screws are tight, have another look to see if the position is more aligned for the rider, and it should make the cycling even more enjoyable. It's also worth mentioning that beyond just adjusting the angle of the levers, you can also adjust the reach. This involves bringing the lever closer to the grip. You can adjust the gap with this little screw here. As you tighten this screw, the lever comes closer so that the child has better access. By loosening the screw, the lever moves outwards. You need to set it up so that all of their fingers can reach the lever comfortably. And once that's all sorted, it's time to ride.